Hi, friends. Thank you for joining me and reading the book Dream It, Believe It, Manatee Patty by Jenny Rose. And actually, I just got this book in the mail and I special ordered it so that I could read it just to you because actually, the author of this book is a very dear friend of mine. And I wanted to read the book anyway. And then after I read it, I thought, oh my goodness, the students would really love this book and the message in this book. So I chose this specifically to read to you. Now, before I read a book, I usually like to read the summary on the back, or the summary on the back, that is called the blurb. And that usually gives you a description of the book so that you would know if you're interested in it or not. So let's take a listen. Reading right here on the back of the book. 8-year-old Manatee Patty is fascinated with marine life, especially manatees, Florida sea cows. Her dream is to live in a world where everyone takes responsibility to protect wildlife and conserve our beautiful planet. On Manatee Patty's birthday, her next-door neighbor gives her a dream catcher with magical powers. And each time she holds her dream catcher and closes her eyes, beautiful photographs of manatees and other species from throughout the world are magically revealed. Now she must wait to see if her gift will breathe life into the dream of protecting her planet and all its creatures. Manatee Patty's life changes suddenly when she is told that her father's new job will include an unexpected move from tropical Florida to Wyoming in the dead of winter. Will this oncoming move be helpful or a setback in following her dreams? Will her friends in Florida stay in touch after she moves? Will her dream of becoming a biologist like her dad or an assistant to her aunt, an international photojournalist, be realized? In this delightful children's book, a little girl on a determined journey discovers the first step to make her dreams come true is to believe. Also sitting near and listening to the book are going to be my two dogs, Sparky and Biscuit. They like to sit and listen to me read to them, and that's a really fantastic idea. So if you're ever at home and mom and dad are busy or you want someone to read to, dogs are great listeners. They will usually like to sit right next to you, and then you can read the book to them, and they can enjoy the book with you. So that's great practice. So keep that in mind. But let me show you. Let's take a peek at Sparky and Biscuit. They're sitting right down here. Let's see. Now, if you look over here, that's Sparky over there. And he's sitting there. And then on this blanket is Biscuit, my other dog. They're great listeners, just like you guys. So I'm really excited to read it to you at home and to my dogs, something that I love to share. So in order to read this book to you, I wanted to put it on the screen so you can read along with me. It's always a great idea when you're listening to a book to be reading along with it with your eyes as well. It helps you understand the story more. You can comprehend it better that way. So let's begin here with chapter 1. Manatee Patty awakens with her dream catcher clutched in her hand. For as long as she can remember, she has been fascinated with marine life, especially manatees, Florida's sea cows. If you live in Manatee County on the Manatee River, near the Parker Manatee Aquarium, and your last name is Man, the nickname Manatee Patty fits perfectly. Our 8-year-old environmentalist gazes around her room. Poster slogans such as "Save the manatees" and "Slow manatees below" are etched in her mind, in her heart, and on her walls. Although she is small and they are enormous, their gentle nature, endearing eyes, stubby snout, and cuddly appearance connect her to them immediately. She cherishes the day when her dad told her they were her manatees and the world's. She understands she must make others aware of the need to preserve and protect her manatees as well as other threatened or endangered species. She is reminded of her commitment as she admires the dozens of stuffed animals, manatee figurines, pictures of manatees, manatee jewelry, and 2 large shelves brimming with books about manatees and other animals of the world. But by far, Manatee Patty's dream catcher is the most bedazzling feature in her room. Suddenly, Manatee Patty reaches for her glasses on the bedside table, hops out of bed, and is taken aback by her reflection in the mirror. She begins brushing her long, wildly streaming hair and approves the transformation. Her blue-green eyes, practically masked with brown lashes, elicit a smile. However, she frowns as she spots the freckles dotting her nose and wonders if they will fade with age. She looks away when there's a knock on her bedroom door, and her mom walks in. "A penny for your dreams, my Manatee Patty." "Hi, Mom. Last night I had the coolest dream. I dreamed I was with Aunt Brayley in Africa. We were gliding in a hot air balloon with our guide. Click, click, click. We took photographs of wildebeest and zebras making their biannual migration between Tanzania and Kenya. Wow, one magical moment captured in time. All animals should be this free. I'll do my part to make sure they're protected. That's a promise. Someday I'll work beside Aunt Brayley, sharing beautiful photographs of animals from all over the world in their natural habitats." You're quite the catcher of beautiful dreams. I can see it now. The captions below your photographs will read, "Pictures by photojournalist Brayley Patricia Mann of World Wildlife for Kids." And Patricia Sue Mann, better known in her hometown of Bradenton, Florida, is Manatee Patty, world-renowned wildlife photographer and environmentalist. Oh, Mom, seriously. I can't wait until she comes for a visit. She has such incredible stories to tell. What a life of fun, excitement, and adventure. Can you imagine taking photographs of so many animals in so many places in the world? Bradenton is wonderful, but Africa, wow, there's no telling where she'll go next. Well, your dad and I can't wait to see her either. We always love her stories and seeing her latest photographs, but she'll also have a chance to rest and unwind. Traveling to other countries is exciting, but there's no place like home, no matter how exciting your job might be. But Bradenton isn't her real home. Montana is. You can feel at home anywhere if you're with family. You mean family and close friends? Mr. Kyle doesn't have any family close by. You and Dad have always said that he seems like a member of our family. He is like a family member. He's lived in the same house next door for 10 years. He was so kind to us when your dad and I first moved into our house. Speaking of Mr. Kyle, I just baked some blueberry muffins for him. Will you take them over while they're still warm? Sure, I'd love to. Mr. Kyle has always enjoyed Maggie Mann's marvelous muffins. Don't forget, you and Dad are going to the beach in a couple of hours. Okay, Mom, I'll be ready to go to Mr. Kyle's in about 15 minutes. But first, Manatee Patty plops down on her bed, closes her eyes, grabs her dream catcher, and begins to visualize photographs of manatees and animals from Africa as they migrate from Tanzania to Kenya. Here, this is a dream catcher right here. That beautiful illustration with the feathers, vibrant colors in the center, and here's a juvenile zebra. These were pictures taken by Pat McMillan and some taken by Pat Rose. Here's a Manatee Ann and her hour-old calf. That baby manatee's only 1 hour old. And then here's a manatee at Blue Springs by Pat Rose. And then this is the migration of the wildebeest, taken by Pat McMillan. After a glimpse at her clock, Manatee Patty retreats from her African dream and races into the kitchen to gather the muffins for Mr. Kyle. She can't wait to spend time with one of the sweetest people she knows and to listen to his fascinating stories. Chapter 2. Mr. Aaron Cheeto Kyle is a handsome man. He has high cheekbones, silver hair threaded with black strands, velvet brown eyes, smiling lips to welcome everyone he meets, and brownish tan skin like so many of his Muskogee Creek ancestors. The importance of Mr. Kyle's Native American heritage is noticeable the moment guests enter his living room. A collection of dream catchers adorns the wall next to his recliner. Photographs of his grandmother, aunts, uncles, and cousins are featured on the top of the shelf. artifacts including baskets, moccasins. See, even when you make a mistake, you just keep going when you're reading. Moccasins. Beads and arrowheads are also visible. His greatest keepsake, however, is a tom-tom made of leather and wood presented to him by his maternal grandmother. The doorbell rings. After answering the door, Mr. Kyle spots the basket filled with muffins, and his mouth begins to water. Hi, Mr. Kyle. Good morning, Manatee Patty. What smells so yummy? Could those be some of Maggie Mann's marvelous muffins? Blueberry, your favorite, answered Manatee Patty. Please tell your mom how much I appreciate the muffins. By the way, how are things in your world of manatees and other wonderful animals? Manatee Patty exclaimed, Great! Our Manatee Elementary Science Club is going to take a field trip to the Parker Manatee Aquarium real soon, and Aunt Braley's coming for a visit. Can't wait. That's wonderful news. How's that dream catcher been working? Have you been catching some good dreams lately? Sure have, Mr. Kyle. That was the best birthday gift ever. The incandescent beads attached to the feathers glistened like stars in the night sky. No wonder my dreams are magical. I figured anyone born on September 7th, International Manatee Day, deserves to have a special birthday and wonderful dreams too. Remember what I told you when I gave it to you. Manatee Patty replied, I know. The hoop is a significant part of your Native American culture. It means strength and togetherness. Will you tell me again how it works? Sure. When you're sleeping, the dream catcher protects you from bad dreams and lets your good dreams come through. Good dreams slip through the hole in the center and then ever so gently glide down the feathers to the person who's sleeping. If you have bad dreams, well, they get caught up in the web and expire at daybreak. According to some legends, a dream catcher can also hold the destiny of one's future. Perhaps if you dream it, you might be able to believe it one day. It's magical, and it's certainly working for me so far, Mr. Kyle. I have beautiful dreams during the night and spectacular daydreams too. I can see places and animals from all over the world as if they are photographs on a page. Someday I believe my dreams will come true. Will you tell me more about your Native American family and your middle name? I know how much I love your stories, or you know how much I love your stories. My full name is Erin Cheeto Kyle. I was in Cheeto after my mother's side of the family. Cheeto means brave in the Muskogee Creek language. From the time I was a little boy, my middle name has always been used more than my first name. My maternal grandmother's side of our family was originally from Florida. They were forced to relocate and walk along the Trail of Tears from Florida to the Indian Territory that is now Oklahoma. Some of my family moved back to Florida years later. And like they say, the rest is history. Here I am. I'm so glad you're here. How terrible. That must have been so hard on your ancestors. It was. Many of my ancestors died along the way. Can you imagine how scary it must have been to be forced to move to an unknown lands? What a tragic story. I'm so sorry. Did your grandmother give you your tom-tom? Yes, the tom-tom was given to me by my grandmother. Her name is Iota, which means great in the Muskogee Creek language. The tom-tom has been passed down for generations. Will you tell me the story about your job at the Tampa Electric Company? It must have been like a retreat for wintering manatees. What a dream job. Sure, I worked at the Tampa Electric Company's environmental department supporting the implementation of environmental programs and stewardship projects. Conservation of our environment has always been important to me, so my job allowed me to follow my dreams. In fact, as a retiree of the Tampa Electric Company, I volunteered in their Manatee Viewing Center for a few months. I really enjoyed sharing information with visitors. I've always thought manatees are so fascinating to watch. They are so gentle-natured and graceful in the water. I guess I do love manatees almost as much as you do, Manatee Patty. After working at the Tampa Electric Company for so many years, I thought I knew almost everything about manatees until I met you. Thanks for the compliment, Mr. Kyle. Oops, it's time to head home. Dad and I are going to Bradenton Beach at noon. Do you want to come with us? Thanks, Manatee Patty, but I think I'll just stay here in my easy chair and catch a beautiful dream. I almost forgot. I have a small dream catcher that you can take with you. That way you can dream in pictures wherever you are. Gee, thanks, Mr. Kyle. I love it. Perfect timing. I'll take my dream catcher to the beach today. Bye. Manatee Patty races back to her house, and she can't wait to show her portable dream catcher to her mom. She smiles when realizing she must be the luckiest kid in the neighborhood. Mr. Kyle is so kind, and he tells such inspiring stories. He seems much more like family than a friend to the Mann family. Manatee Patty goes into her bedroom, puts on her swimsuit, grabs her beach bag, pops her new dream catcher inside it, and joins her dad in the living room. She gives him a hug and asks, "Hey, Dad, ready to head to the beach?" "I sure am. Let's go, sweetheart." The car is already packed. We can listen to our favorite beach songs on the way. My goodness, you began singing these songs when you were a toddler. Would you like to sing with me, Dad? Yes, I'd love to. Let's roll down the windows, turn up the volume, and start harmonizing. And that's it for today, chapters 1 and 2. Next video will be chapters 3 and 4. Thanks for reading along with me.